All right, hi YouTube. It's Abby, the Frog Queen here, and today I have a special guest interview for you. I am talking to Adam McGovern on Skype, and we're going to talk about his new comic. It's a story within Savage Dragon called AQUARIA. Is that correct?
That's completely right.
Yay! I got it right. No, I know that. I already read it. So
My comics have made us both smarter, so
yes, this is our second attempt at a interview. Hopefully, I think it's going to go much better because it's the daytime for one, which always helps. So I guess we'll just dive right in. First of all, can you just tell me? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I said I see what you did there because she's an aquatic heroine. Dive right in.
Yeah. Puns. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the beginning of my first question. Can you tell me a little bit about AQUARIA?
AQUARIA is a modern-day mutant mermaid. Don't worry, she's got two legs with webbed feet, not one of those constraining tapered single tails like Ariel or whatever. And she's created by the toxic cocktail of the chemicals in Brooklyn, USA's polluted Gowanus Canal.
I don't know much about that canal. Is that a real canal?
Unfortunately, yes.
Oh,
yeah. In the same way that there's no such thing as superheroes in real life, but there are supervillains, like Bin Laden or whatever, there's also dystopian sci-fi. No one's actually been mutated or gained powers by being in the Gowanus Canal, but it's this horrible stretch of, I think maybe human-made stream that goes through Brooklyn and had stuff dumped into it for, 60 years on end, and they declared it a watery Superfund site. Superfund, again, comic sounding, but it's an American term for all these toxic waste dumps that the federal government has to walk in and clean up. So it's kind of legendary. Right on the Gowanus Canal is the equally legendary studios of Hang Dai Comics, featuring Dean Haspiel, Krista Casano, etc. Unfortunately, gentrification is about to break up the band, but this is actually, AQUARIA is related to a Brooklyn superhero universe that Dean has started.
okay.
And she kind of is in a parallel universe, just one parallel over from stories like Dean's The Red Hook and the new comic by Vito Del Sante, The Purple Heart.
Okay. Awesome. I don't know much about the Purple Heart, unfortunately. But if it's new, that means that I have just probably have not got the press release yet. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, he's not physical. He's also digital. The Red Hook and the Purple Heart, so far are on Line Webtoons, which is this online comic service, which has been huge in Asia and is making inroads now into North America.
Oh, okay.
Brooklyn Superhero Universe. Later on in post-production, you can put in the maybe URL for that, because the Red Hook looks like Dean's The Fox, only red,
okay.
But the differences don't stop there. He's like an ex-prize fighter and burglar who becomes a reluctant hero. And it's really cool. It's got a few more chapters left. I think it's up to number 18. They load every week. It's absolutely free.
Okay.
And then the Purple Heart is a damaged Iraq war vet who comes back to Brooklyn, and he's made kind of like the spiritual protector of Brooklyn, of the new Brooklyn Republic, which is split off. In those comics, it's split off by a strange metaphysical cataclysm where, like, the heart of Brooklyn is broken and it decides to break away from the rest of the country. I think now there's a new meaning to that. I think it gets as far from the mainland as it can, so that Donald Trump can't get his hands on this Purple Heart. And in AQUARIA, we say that it's global warming and superstorms that causes Brooklyn to be detached from the rest of America. But it's cool stuff.
Nice. Okay. So my second question, of course, is
we're only at the second question, and it's like, what, like 76 minutes in. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all. It's good though. I like all this information. That's what interviews are about. They're about information, sharing information. So, how did you get involved with Savage Dragon in general? Because that seems like how long has the Savage Dragon actually been running? Like it's a significant amount of time, a couple decades, correct?
It's a mere 215 issues so far, and I think that's,
right?
Yeah, it's like, let's show some initiative, Eric. It's one of the two longest running Image comics, the other one being Spawn.
Right.
And I think the 215 number is actually an under-exaggeration because there were a few miniseries first, and I'm not sure that Eric, I think he may have started the numbering over in the early days. He's never done that cheesy move, since.
Yes, yeah. Because he has a constantly evolving character and has an aging character, and I believe we talked about this before, but because I don't actually read Savage Dragon, it's actually one of the few comics that I never actually read. I think I've read maybe a couple issues, but it's one of the few comics where there's a second generation, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, of course, Legacies are a staple of comics most recently with both, I guess the concept's been there since at least the mid-'60s when, they started to do Golden Age Flash versus Silver Age Flash and stuff like that. And nowadays, of course, as the big two, as they call Marvel and DC, are, struggling to have, like, not just white guys as their heroes, there's a bunch of, kind of, new heroes taking the baton, like the Muslim Ms. Marvel and the Latino Miles Morales Spider-Man and stuff like that. In terms of, Tony Stark, I mean, he's about to pass the mantle to what's her name, Riri. I can't remember her last name, but anyway.
Yeah, I know who you mean. I can't remember.
But he still looks relatively young, whereas in Savage Dragon, it's kind of like where Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were going with the Fantastic Four, before Kirby left and everything just became, kind of frozen in place where, in just the same way that with the FF, Reed and Sue got married, they had a kid, Crystal was hanging around in a Fantastic Four uniform, even though she was at least number 5, and things like this. I'm not even going to say what number Donald Trump would say she is, but okay. See, it's my sworn duty as an American to throw in one zinger against Trump, per 76 minutes.
Okay. I was like, didn't we already do that?
And Johnny, in the original, 106-ish issue run of Fantastic Four, by Stan and Jack, Johnny went from a teenager to a young man and things like this. So did Spider-Man. He was like this geeky teenager, and he was in college by the time Stan and John Romita were doing it. But the only comic that's really stuck to its guns in that regard is Savage Dragon, where like the characters have all aged in real time. The original Dragon is still around, though he's in jail for crimes that he's blamed for when another malevolent intelligence took him over, and he's helping to breed a new race of his own alien species. Long story, and his son is the one who's like the named star of the book, though it has a good ensemble with his sister Angel, his new wife Maxine, one of the only realistic, kick-ass, sympathetic, funny, cardboard Asian characters in comics, and that's the story of Savage Dragon.
Awesome. So how did you get involved in this? Because I know you of course have Night World, which came out last year. Was last year, wasn't it? On Image.
The 4-issue mini was August through November 2014, and then the trade collection came out. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
With 2015, yeah.
I'm like, oh man, my sense of time is it's horrifying. But of course, I collected them at the moment they came out because they were fantastic. So I already know that you had an established relationship in publishing with Image already. But how did you get involved specifically in Savage Dragon?
Sure. Well, Savage Dragon's creator Eric Larson, and the guy who still draws and writes, does everything except the coloring and lettering. He was our champion from the start. Our first gig in Image Comics was in this series that he was doing for a while of anthologies called The Next Issue Project, where they would do like whatever. Ours was called Crack Comic 63 because it was the next issue of some comic that got canceled like 60 years before and was public domain. So we did a story in Light World in like 2007, I think, at a New York Comic Con. And he flipped through it. He said, "Oh, would you guys like to do a next issue project story?" So that happened. And then actually, 2 years later, he offered us to do Jack Kirby's Silver Star, which would have been a thrill. But then it turned out Image had the rights to that Kirbyverse stuff had lapsed, so we couldn't do that. Right. But then, like, we all were resolved to like kind of do stuff, continue with the legacy of new stuff of our own. So he took another look at Night World, and we were, off and running, and only 5 more years after that, after a Kickstarter, etc., we had the 4-issue mini ready, and that happened. And so, we've always been in touch. And when I realized Savage Dragon always has these interesting rotating backup stories, I thought, oh, this could be a home for Aquaria. And Eric was into it. He's been very supportive. Always gives good advice, like on what cover will pop better. He always says you have to like be able to see it across the room, across the comic store. And so now we're going to be 2 stories in, because there's going to be another one in issue 2016 next month. And issue 216, excuse me, the year we're in is 2016, as a matter of fact. Funny story. And after that, actually, Dean's going to have a standalone Red Hook story in the back of the comic, and maybe we can ready some more aquatic adventures in between. But we'll see how you, the reader, here I can't figure out how to point at the camera on Skype. How you respond, yes, to our aqueous Avenger. She's not really an Avenger. Aquaria is all about conflict resolution. She's more like Mayday Parker, in the Spider-Girl comic.
Okay. So, this is a 6-page story that's inserted in issue, you said 215, right? 215 or 216? 215. 215, okay. And is it it's gonna carry through further into the issues, or we'll see her coming back, or?
We'll see her come back once so far. Okay. Issue 20. I keep doing that. Issue 216 will have another story, which actually, strangely enough, was done before the one that's in 215, but it was kind of like an original sample proof of concept kind of story. I made 1 or 2 writing tweaks to make sure that it stays a safe distance from the actual, Webtoons universe, but it's people will know what they're looking at, and then we don't have any other finished stories. We've got a lot of I was trying to think of a term for a large amount, which wouldn't be profane, but we've got a large amount of stories ready in like story treatment and script form. So we'll see what happens with that.
Okay, awesome. That's exciting, though. So, I guess your artist that you worked with, of course, at Night World, I can never remember his name, because I believe it was a little bit different for me. Can you tell me his name? I forget.
Well, I will. I'll step in. And there's of course, for any like North American like Euros there like us, there's a bit of a trepidation in whether we'll pronounce his name correctly, but it's Paolo Leandri of Città di Castello in Italy.
Paolo Leandri.
Paolo, like think Pow, like Pow and Batman.
Yeah, because it's not spelt like that.
Yeah, it looks more like paleo, actually. Yeah. And, that's a popular diet. Maybe he should consider, having it legally changed.
No, it's not vegan.
I'm sure it is not, yeah, no. And, we're both vegans. I was happy to see, such vegan content, even in your, like, whatever, your email name or something.
My other YouTube channel.
Oh, really? Cool. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's the vegan transition. I've only had it for like 3 months, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm going to, when we're done, I'm going to have some ersatz. I'm going to have some android fish in a sandwich for lunch, actually.
Nice. So, yeah, how did you connect with, I'm not even going to say it right again. Paolo, thank you. How did you connect with him? And, like, is this your second project together, essentially?
We've done many projects, some of which you've been seeing, some of which still are, in the can, unfortunately. How we met was I write for a professional magazine devoted to the works of the great Jack Kirby, co-creator of Captain America, Fantastic Four, New Gods, all that, and I like that. It looked like both applause and a prayer, which we certainly owed to Kirby, it's called the Jack Kirby Collector. Interestingly enough, the new one that's out right about now has an interview I did with Brandon Montclair, Amy Reeder, and Natasha Bustos, who are doing.
I love Amy Reeder.
Yeah, she's fantastic. She's just like, I don't know, just like the precision, but almost, the precision rendering, but the surreal, layouts. And they're doing right now at Marvel an update of Kirby's book, Devil Dinosaur, called Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, which I recommend to everybody. In fact, I felt like the zeitgeist was validating us because their young heroine, Lunella Lafayette, is like a geek, just like Aquaria's alter ego, Mirta Del Mar. And when that came out, I thought, okay, cool, there's this growing market for teen female geeks with superpowers. And yeah, and Kirby Collector, yes, that's what we were talking about. So I write for that magazine and have since 1997, and I would get samples from people who have Kirby-esque work, and so Paolo sent some stuff, and I had him in mind, or he came back to mind, when I was doing a comic called Dr. Id, Psychologist of the Supernatural, which was like a shrink version of Doctor Strange. And we entered that in a contest, an online contest for Dark Horse, but they ended up never doing the actual second round of that contest. It was for a thing called New Recruits in the aughts, and but he did such a beautiful job on the one Dr. Id story, which I thought was just going to be like a one-joke strip, that I started to get all kinds of ideas for more. So we did a whole comic, which we brought out on our own. Nominated our first time out for an Ignatz Award at the Small Press Expo for Outstanding Comic of 2006.
Oh, awesome.
And yeah, we were happy. It was a good boost, a good encouragement on our first footing. As I say, it was an honor just to lose to Adrian Tomine. So then Paolo had shown me pages of a prototypical Night World story he'd done in 2003. Some of that is reproduced in the back matter of the Night World trade that came out last year. And I thought, there's something really haunted me about it. And I thought, this could be, maybe a hit, like a Hellboy-ish, thing that would resonate in America. And I said, if you ever want to do a translation, let me know. In the meantime, I had another character called Idru Jones, who was kind of like a digital genie from a dystopian future. And we did... I got sidetracked for 3 years with an ongoing caregiving situation in the mid-aughts, but we got two stories finished, and they're up on highlowbrow.com. And I quite that's some of my favorite stuff that we've done. Then we got back to Night World, figuring let's give a try to this. Paolo had another one that he made up that he had me, pretty much, write it was old school Marvel style where he drew it first, and and I we batted some ideas. He drew it first, then I wrote the snarky, the snarky smart aleck text, and it was called Wild Ones. Actually, that's what I named them, and it was about a telepathic acrobat in a traveling circus, and the circus animals who she solves crimes with. And
Nice.
so loved that. And Paolo got tired of it for some reason, and we've never finished it. But hopefully that'll see the light of day sometime. So basically, we've done lots of that. We did that stuff. We had one strip, an issue for the 4 issues of a big, huge tabloid newsprint comic called Pood, P-O-O-D, which was, I think, the Daily News in New York called the most buzzworthy release of Mocha Fest 2010, something like that. And so we've really done a lot. And yeah, he's definitely the collaborator I've worked with the most. And so, it was just, like I've said, he's my Joe Cavalier to those who have read, The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay. And for those who watch Big Bang, I might even go so far as to say he's my Mark Ruffalo.
Aww, that's awesome. That sounds almost romantic in a way.
It is. Well, he is from Italy, so.
Oh, yeah, okay. It is romantic. It's romantic now. Maybe we could get together in the future to talk about what's going on for AQUARIA in the future.
Yes, we hope there is one. As do we all, with that Trump fellow running for president there. You see, I got my last one in.
Do you think he's going to, stomp out the world's comics or USA's comics? I don't know.
That might be the one thing that survives. That and football, like in The Handmaid's Tale,
Can we just get rid of football? I'm okay with that.
No, because if we get rid of football, then we'll have to delete that last reference, and I think the Margaret Atwood allusion is necessary for your Canadian content. So, we're going to have to...
Yeah. We can always do with more Margaret Atwood, that's for sure. All right, well, I'm going to say goodbye to my viewers. Thank you for watching YouTube. This is Amy from the Frog Queen, not the vegan transition today. And I've been talking to Adam McGovern about AQUARIA.